Jonathan has already been gone for several hours, and Mina is resting in my office. It is a pity that, because of the urgency of the situation, I have not been able to bring Jonathan up to date with all my work. I have a feeling that the noose is tightening around us, and... But what? My God! It's Dracula!
Leave your guard where you found him. He's of no use to you now. Seize him!
Don't go near her. Get away.
Get him out of my sight. Now, my dear, it appears that our destinies have crossed once again. Let me just relieve you of that wedding ring, which you won't be needing any longer. Now wake up. This time, I promise you, we shall never part again.
Notes on the patient Hopkins. Height 1 meter 65, weight 55 kilograms, estimated age between 40 and 45. Date of internment 20th October 1904. The patient Hopkins seems to have been afflicted by a very rare carnivorous pathology, which takes the form of ingesting flies and other insects and other forms of disturbed behavior. What is particularly interesting is that after a series of conversations with him, I became deeply convinced that the man's mind was controlled by Dracula. And then, though Hopkins seemed so cold and calculating that it was possible to believe that he was feigning his illness, he met Mina and was radically transformed. From then on, he has spoken hesitantly and seems far less sure of himself. He has become vulnerable. If Hopkins has doubts, that could be to our advantage. From today onwards, Mina must be present during my sessions with him.
God be praised. I am now protected against the vampires.
On the eve of the new century, I found an ancient 15th century book of magic in a bookshop in the Portobello Road, which radically changed my life. It tells of vampires and satanic rites, but for once it is not a work of fiction. The cover is decorated with a ring in old leather in the form of a dragon curled around a stone. I managed to translate the little that remains of the book, which tells of the building of a remarkable sanctuary by a monk named Thaddeus. Alas, now I am old and sick, and although I am firmly convinced that it exists, I shall never find this sanctuary. I have therefore made a summary in this notebook of the information contained in these pages, plucked from time. Finish my quest, if you can, and reveal to the world this incomparable archaeological treasure. The story, as recounted at the beginning of the book, which is intact, begins in a country which would appear to be present-day Transylvania. It tells of the rivalry between Vlad Tepes, also known as Dracula, and his half-brother, Radu, both princes and heirs to the kingdom. When their father, Dracula, died, the symbol of power, a ring in the form of a dragon with a precious stone in the centre, was handed over to Radu, the younger brother, allegedly on the advice of a magician named Dorko. Wild with rage, Dracula pursued Radu and shut him up in his huge underground prison. He also banished Dorko, but the main thing he did was to separate the stone from the dragon ring, which then fell under Dracula's evil influence. According to the book, no one knew what became of the stone. The last sanctuary is the one Vlad Tepes, also known as Dracula, built when he took power after the death of his father. He entrusted the building of the edifice to the monk Thaddeus, nicknamed the Black Monk because of his satanic propensities. But shortly after the sanctuary was finished, the monk disappeared. The author of the book seems to have been an exiled disciple of Thaddeus. He recounts that the latter had designed 3 barriers in the form of initiation rooms, with the aim of eliminating all claimants unworthy of entering the last sanctuary. Unfortunately, the book has deteriorated too much to be able to read the passages concerning 2 out of the 3 rooms. However, it appears that the 3rd room is by far the most mysterious and terrifying. The book refers on several occasions to strange keys, but no information is given as to their use. The Devil's Nails is the literal translation of the phrase in the book, but it would seem closer to the truth to render it Satan's claws. I have made a copy of the drawing in the book. It shows Jacob's dream, as recounted in the book of Genesis. Jacob's ladder represents the link between God and men, but in the sanctuary it appears rather to be a link with Satan. The symbols surrounding it are Sanskrit numbers. The instructions in the text are clear. It is a trap designed to tear to pieces anyone who dares to go there. The Hellfire Room, which I prefer to call the Dragon Room, as it shows fire shooting out of the mouths of numerous dragons. Here, a highly sophisticated system is involved, which leaves little chance for the person manipulating it. In the book, I came across a formula which appears could be used to make projectiles against vampires. I have noted it as it might be useful. It looks like a recipe, and it could very well be one. A potion using crushed garlic should be prepared. Add a quantity of vampire's blood, maybe this means bat's blood, heat it to 30 degrees, and pour the solution into a bottle. According to Thaddeus's disciple, all you need to do is soak the projectiles in the mixture to make them into formidable anti-vampire weapons. Now, all this sounds a little like an old wives' tale, but it's best to leave nothing to chance.
My dear colleague, after your cable concerning the dragon's ring, I found a document which used to belong to a scientist friend of mine who died recently. It consists of a notebook whose contents have a curious relevance to the things you told me about in your letter. It contains information on vampires and initiation rites, secret sanctuaries, and the ring. I am sure that you will find it very interesting.
Delicious. This fly is a real treat.
Hopkins, what happened to Mina and Dr. Seward? Tell me.
So you know my name. There's no need to introduce myself then. I've been dying to meet you.
Let's dispense with the formalities. I've got to know what happened here.
You're not in a position to demand anything. All you need to know is that the Master considered that the good Dr. Seward had become somewhat bothersome.
And Mina?
Madame Mina, the Master wants her. She's with him. Yes, she's with him.
Hopkins, look, I'm armed to fight Dracula. Help me to save Mina. You've seen her, you see how vulnerable she is.
But to save Mina would mean betraying the Master. I cannot act against the Master, but I can't leave Mina in danger either. What a terrible dilemma.
I've already beaten Dracula. Trust me, and together, we can save Mina.
It'll take more than words to convince me. I know that you possess the dragon's ring. If you want me to trust you and help you, give it to me. That way you can let me be the judge of how sincere you are. Take these in exchange. Here are my spectacles. They will be extremely useful to you because they make common mortals see with a secret vision of the vampires. The Master is right to be wary of you. You're a brave man. I shall help Mina.
You're nothing more than a rat lost in a labyrinth, but I'll have you know that this game no longer amuses me. Silence! In a little while, everything that is yours will be mine. Then your life will be worth no more than that of an insect, and I shall simply flick you away.
Mina.
It looks as if our little troublemaker is coming round. The game is over. This weapon can no longer save you. You're at my mercy.
What do you want?
You can see for yourself. You are in my castle in Transylvania, and you can expect no one to help you. You've lost. Now tell me where the ring is, and I shall be merciful.
Where is Mina?
Mina is no longer any of your business, but I'm prepared to spare your life if you give me the ring.
That's a fool's bargain. People mean nothing to you. I know that the ring can destroy you. Without it, you're nothing more than a puppet hanging on its last string. I shall never tell you where it is.
Me? A puppet? How dare you speak to me like that? Your tiny mortal brain hasn't quite grasped the importance of what's going on. The world will soon be nothing more than a shadowy garden peopled with slaves over which I shall rule, with Mina at my side. What a pity you won't live long enough to see my triumph. In a few moments, life as you know it will cease to exist. You will become one of those beings you've so vainly fought against. There could be no more miserable fate than Jonathan Harker's.
Hopkins. So it's you who's in charge of the dirty work. I might have known.
Don't make your situation any worse than it already is by talking rubbish. Think about it. If I had betrayed you, the ring would be in Dracula's hands now, rather than in the protection of St. George in the cemetery where I've put it. Now I have to leave before the master notices my absence. And be careful. Beyond that door, there is danger everywhere.
But I am not in Transylvania. I'm still at the Sticks in London. The chamber was just a cinema set then. Seward! Seward,
It's too late for me, but there's still hope for Mina. Now go and destroy Carfax. There is a secret passage behind the organ. It opens when you press on one of the keys. When you are safe, I shall destroy everything here. That way the monster will have nowhere to hide. Jonathan, give me your pistol. Take this key. It opens my laboratory at the asylum. Use the results of my research to save Mina.
Seward,
I know. Me too, my friend. Me too.
Seward, my dear friend, my physical suffering is only equaled by the pain in my heart. Your death must be the last on a list which is already too long. Once I have destroyed Carfax, Dracula will have no choice but to take refuge in his sanctuary at Highgate. Then I shall draw the monster from his lair and kill him. Your sacrifice will not have been in vain. I pray that you will hear my vow, wherever you may be.
All your attempts to harm me are so pathetic. I tell you that nothing you can do will prevent my union with Mina. I condemn you to be burnt alive in this hellhole.
My research is at a standstill. After having spent months working on my apparatus, I have to face facts. I lack one parameter to make my anti-vampire system work. Ever since that day in 1897, when Mina was contaminated by the monster, I have worked tirelessly to try to develop my invention. But in vain. I have still not succeeded in transmitting a signal which could destroy them. I thought I would be able to achieve my aim by adding this aerial to the transformers. Yet although this gives better reception, the wave transmission is still defective. I need a component from the world of the vampires themselves, but I do not know how to obtain it. I shall dismantle the machine once again and check my figures. I am still convinced that this machine is our only salvation.